Welcome back to another episode of Bombshell 1111 Girl Talk Series Podcast. Bombshell 1111 is a platform created to teach ways to nourish the mind, body, and soul. This platform allows this podcast to create weekly content on podcasts with special guests each week that will stimulate your spiritual, mental, and physical growth. The podcasts are played on social media platforms such as Spotify, YouTube, Anchor Radio Station, Apple Podcasts, and more. This station has been created to allow us to interact with each other to share knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and light. So without further ado, please help me welcome your host and founder of Bombshell 1111 Girl Talk Series, Kia.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bombshell 1111 Girl Talk Series, Entrepreneurs Link Up. My name is Kia, and I'm your host. Tonight, we have a special guest out of the North Carolina area by the name of Knowledge Born. Knowledge is a public speaker, mentor, and advocate. And also, he is a successful podcaster. He runs a podcast by the name of Do the Knowledge Radio, which has over 1,160 episodes and counting. So without further ado, you guys, let's give him a warm welcome to the show. Welcome, Knowledge, to the show. How are you?
Good, sis. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for deciding to come on and be a special guest on Bombshell 1111 Girl Talk Series. I'm so blessed and honored because you're definitely somebody that I consider as a mentor. So I'm definitely appreciative and very humble that you decided to come on and be a part of my Girl Talk series.
I mean, I love what you're doing. I love this broadcast. I love how you are opening up your home, basically, to the world and giving, our people a platform to speak words of empowerment, words of life, words of enrichment, words of education. So definitely honored, equally honored to be here with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope that I get to the point where you are someday. And I just want to let the listeners know that as I decided to do this podcast journey, he has been a vital instrument in me getting to the point where I am in such a short time. So I definitely, again, appreciate you, and I look forward to continuing to work with you on my journey. So you guys, we're going to jump right in the story. So I did a little intro at the beginning of the podcast to kind of let the listeners know who you were and what to expect from our conversation. But it couldn't come better other than from the person that knows the story best. So can you start off with your story, kind of giving the listeners a little background about who you are and how you develop your radio station?
Well, that's an excellent question.
Yes.
You want the long version or you want the short version?
Whichever one we have. All we have is time, so whichever one you feel like sharing.
For the sake of time, I'll give you the short version.
Okay,
the long version,
let's go. Let's hear it.
I'll be in the book series.
Okay, let's hear it.
My mother and my father, they got together and we had a contractual agreement along with my ancestors that I would come to the planet and do the work that they had charged me to do.
Yeah.
So we agreed, and this was my incarnation for this period. And the reason why I said it like that is because this is not something that came out of the sky. This is something that was planned, and for most of my life I tried to do the opposite of what was ordained of me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you start looking at it, from that perspective, you get a chance to see, okay, this is not good for you. every time you try this doesn't work out. You know. So what brought me to media, or brought me to radio, is I spent 20 to 25 years in what we call the conscious community. I was birthed here, I was raised here. My mother and my father, they did this work before me and trusted me with this particular inheritance to work with our people in the community.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So my mother and father worked with people that was on drugs, all kinds of maladies that afflicted them, and they used universal principle in the sciences of healing to help people, from these afflictions, whether it was, disease of key systems in the body, or it was, through some rigorous type of methods of reformation, dealing with folks in a mentally dead space, emotionally dead space, psychologically dead space, our people, and resurrecting them from the dead state that they were in.
Right.
So this was my, inheritance, or my, contractual agreement into consciousness from birth. Some people have stories, or I read this book, or I saw Hidden Colors, or whatever the case may be, wherever their awakening took place, respect to them. This was a charge from birth, and I tried everything in my power not to do it. But the most peace I've found is doing this particular thing. So the virtual component was an ode to the physical component. Yeah. You could only do so much physically. You could only be so many places at one time. I had grown accustomed to teaching in small groups, working with people from my youth on up. There's people I go back with 25, 30 years. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That know me for what I've done ever since. You see what I'm saying? So, continuing on the path that was laid out before me. So this virtual component in regards to media, to finding black people, finding African people to celebrate, finding African people to, welcome onto the platform and be a platform for the diaspora, from the diaspora back to the mother continent, from the mother continent throughout the diaspora. You see what I'm saying? So that means Africans all over the planet, so from Africa throughout the world, and from throughout the world back to Africa. You see what I'm saying? So this was the goal, the aim, the objective, and the mission, because we have done things physically in different locations with our youth, with different people in our peer group, with our elders, and celebrating our ancestors and venerating them. So the virtual component allowed us to reach a wider scope of people in a short span of time. So started Do the Knowledge Radio 5 years ago, and we've been working ever since. And what that translates to is 1,160 episodes and counting, on the audio side, and close to 200 on the audio visual side. You see what I'm saying, to date. So you add those two together, you got a hefty amount of work that was done in a short span of time. Solely. Go ahead.
So would you say that what you're doing right now is solely your soul's purpose?
I wouldn't say soul purpose. I would say a soul complement to the other components of the work that's done. So this is a very vital and critical component, but it's complementary to the physical work. There are other things that are at work physically that are happening, that are manifesting, that are coming into play. As it took time with the virtual, it takes time in the physical. But this is, painstaking labor that has been taking place for over 25 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
These are components. They're twin halves.
So, with Do the Knowledge Radio, for those listeners who are not familiar with your platform, can you give us a little education, a little background on exactly what your platform promotes?
Excellent question. excellent. You are like a genius with these questions.
The listeners, they have to know. They have to know. We need to know. We need to know. We need to be educated.
Doing Knowledge Radio is an African-centered platform that looks at the world and provides the world with African-centered or black-based content from a black perspective. Oftentimes we hear, things like it's a black thing, right? A lot of those things and a lot of those concepts that we have latched on over the years have been given to us by our enemies. They have been given to us by enemies, and we have, hyperdimensionalized and superimposed them as if they are our own thoughts and ideas. You understand? So if this is a black thing, point me to the black culture.
Yeah.
Point me to the black place where this culture is cultivated. You see what I'm saying? So you might have remnants of things, amalgamated versions of what it is, but oftentimes we really don't have an idea of who we are or where we come from.
Right.
Not even in a geographical location, just within our family dynamics. You find brothers and sisters who are walking around here who don't know their parents, who don't know their grandparents, and don't know their great-grandparents. You understand what I'm saying? So they find themselves very fractionalized in this existence. So instead of saying, hey, look at those people over there, they're pretty messed up, we rolled up our sleeves and said, okay, if they are reminded of who they are, if we bring people around from different spiritual paths, different political affiliation, different ideologies, schools of thought, and give them an opportunity to champion those people, when you hear something that agrees with you, that identifies with you, we make space for you to gravitate towards it. It's not a whole thing like, hey, you have to be this, do this, drink this, eat this. You understand what I'm saying? It's a library, and it's sectioned off with different sections. And each section has a vital component in a role in a library. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So you go to where you want to go in that library and you get that information. So if that resonates with you, then this is what you deal with. But you can go through the entire library. You see what I'm saying? So with the whole, situation like this is what Do Knowledge Radio is. It's a platform that is set up for us, by us, with the exclusive reverence and ode to our ancestors, our elders, our peer group, our youth, and our generations to come.
Wow.
So we work with people all over the globe. You see what I'm saying? Indiscriminate to ideology, political affiliation, organization, and what the like. So from Africa to the diaspora, and from the diaspora back to Africa. You understand? So that's the goal, the aim, and the mission.
Wow, that's deep, and that's definitely a blessing to be able to touch so many different cultures. Honestly, not even just our culture, but so many diverse cultures at the same time, while educating your culture about themselves, because like you said, a lot of us, we don't know about our ancestors, and we don't know a lot about our culture, and it's very I would say uplifting to know that within a small African American community that you have a radio station geared towards that, not just geared towards playing music, but geared towards education, and black education at that. So I commend you on your journey, and I commend you on your path and what you're doing in reference to trying to educate the community. So let's kind of like jump to a different type question. With what I just said, being that your radio station is geared towards education, on your personal radio station right now, if you were to go to your car, what would your personal radio station presets be set at right now? What would you be listening to? What genre of music would you listen to?
That is a very, very good question. I'm glad that you asked that one.
Okay.
Because oftentimes this is where we find the divide. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he's for black people and black consciousness.
Right.
But what is he listening to?
Right.
That is a beautiful question. That is the greatest question I've ever been asked.
So what are you listening to?
I have African-centered artists. I have African liberation artists who have used their propaganda tools for the liberation of our people. They are talented artists. They dope MCs. They are dope poets.
Yeah.
You understand? They're dope, R&B singers, and they are about and love our people. Their lyrics are promotional, transformational, African-centered tools that are used as outreach programs to call our people back to themselves. There's no degradation of women. There's no, promotion of drug or alcohol use, and no promotion of violence towards anybody outside of our influence. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? You understand what I'm saying? So
right.
If you went to, my car and I turned my car on, you would hear that. And I had to, that's a shift in thought right there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I loved hip hop. Everybody in hip hop, blah blah blah. But when I made the decision that the mission was more important than the moment, when I made the decision to say, okay, I'm all in for African liberation, you would have to see evidence of African liberation lifestyle.
Yeah.
An African-centered purpose, an African-centered program. And this is not for everybody. This is me. This is only knowledgeable and talking about his particular perspective. You see what I'm saying? So I had to find liberation artists that were out here that were dope. Because just because you saying, Black Power or Hotep or whatever the case may be, that don't mean that your music is good. So I had to find that both. So I found some excellent artists. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you definitely did.
Had them on the platform, did events with them, put money in their pocket, whatever the case may be, whatever I could do to support them and propel them and push them out forward. Yeah. This is the evidence. You see what I'm saying? This is the evidence. So, that's kind of what it is. So if you're not in a position to teach your children at home, make sure that you set aside some time for them to, engage their mind and speak to the brains that exist within that African mind until you're in such position to where you can go, unless you find someone within your community that you can trust to, have that value system and be able to, help educate your children. But you got to know what they're walking into. You see what I'm saying? You got to know what they're walking into, and you have to prepare them. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the music. The music can do it in 20 seconds. It might take us, 20 years. The music can do it in 20 seconds.
Right.
So if the music can make you a gangster in 20 seconds, it can make you a god in 10. You understand what I'm saying?
I get the logic. Yeah, I get it. I get that logic. Yeah. So I think that's a really good analogy to use, because I don't think a lot of us think about that on a day-to-day basis, because like you just said, we could hear a song and we like it within 5 minutes and we know that song the second time it's played. However, if we're listening to something that we don't normally listen to on a day-to-day basis, we may listen halfway through it, but then change the station. So, yeah, and I think it's all about, like you said, how you're committed to something. You're committed to this path and this journey, and that's why your presets are set on those radio stations. So I think that also plays a lot into it too, with what you're committed to in regards to what path and journey that you're on in your personal life. So with that being said, I know you're excited about a lot of things. You just spoke about a lot of things that you're doing, that you're involved in. But as of right now, in the moment, I know for myself, I'm excited about the future and what that holds for the podcast. But for you, what are you excited for as of right now with where you are with Do the Knowledge radio station?
Do the Knowledge radio, it went from a thought form to a universe. I'm excited about that. Like, it went from a thought form. It was something. It was like the last thing I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I knew it was necessary. And one of my mottos and mantras is the mission is more important than the moment. I might have found myself in a moment where I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Nothing about no radio and none of this stuff, you understand? And if at the first episode, if it wasn't for the feedback that I got from a person that was near and dear to my heart at the time, like you called me as soon as it was over. It's like, yo, Niles, you sure you ain't did the radio before? You bugging. I think you holding out on me like, yo, it's crazy. Because I'm in the background dealing with all the technical difficulties, the stressing, I'm getting knocked out of my own show and all this other stuff. I went back and listened to it, and 99.999% of it was in my head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like 1% of it was really happening. So, you know, that other aspect was, you know, overcoming the challenges and the presets, like when you spoke about the station, tuning in your mind and in your mentality. So overcoming those obstacles and challenges within yourself, you know, to ascend, because your body and your spirit wants you to be safe. You understand? So we got defense mechanisms. And it's like, no, that's no. You don't know nothing about that. Don't you go over there?
Right. Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So you get that self-talk, and it translates over time as negative self-talk. Like, no, it really just wants to keep you safe. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And the job of the ascender or the ascension is to get you out of that modality, because that's not going to make you your best you. It's going to make you your safe you. Best and safe is not synonymous with one another. You see what I'm saying? So I have to break out of the mold. I have to break out of the mold and ascend and trust those ancestors that I venerate. Trust those creative forces that I honor. Trust the creator of all things, that they will direct and guide my path and my steps, as long as I stay dutiful to the ways and those principles. You understand what I'm saying? So,
right.
You know, moving forward, like it took a while now. Don't get me wrong, and then just go Shazam, like, oh, I'm on it. You understand? So it's a work in progress. You see what I'm saying? It's a work in progress, and you know, the creative forces in my ancestral lineage ain't done with me yet. You know, like they say, Jesus ain't done with me yet. Like, yeah, my lineage, they ain't done with me yet. But I'm walking in my destiny and staying true to the path. So all of these things are interconnected with the vision, the aim, and the scope of Do Nots Radio. Like, really wanted to be the voice box from Africa to the diaspora. So we got contacts and brothers and sisters that we're working with on the continent, and brothers and sisters all over the planet. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful, unifying type of time. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, with this technological advancements, I guess, you know, it's you know, cutting that learning curve in half. You know, you're dealing with brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters are repatriating. Brothers and sisters are going to go visit with the years of return and stuff like that. All of these things are bringing that space closer and closer and closer. They're closing that gap. So very excited to be dealing with that, and very excited to see this brand take upon a life of its own and translate as, you know, productive programs for our youth, for our young men and women, and, you know, for our future generations. Like, I love it. It's beautiful. You see what I'm saying? So that's the direction and the trajectory currently that has my excitement excited. You understand?
Okay, so we're talking about being excited and things of that nature. What would you say, thus far, the year 2020, what has been the best thing that has happened to you this year? I guess this is a two-part question. And then, what is one of the most defining moments that you've had thus far 2020?
I just came back from Atlanta, and the Atlanta experience, that I just had, up close and personal with them Africans out there, I think it was profound. I think it was magnificent. I think it was transformative.
Right.
That was like the most profound experience of 2020 thus far. And the defining moment for the second part was going from strictly audio, true to heart podcast for the last 5 years.
Right.
In December, coming into 2020, making the shift to 99% visual.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? 99% visual, and like people coming out of nowhere, opportunities coming out of nowhere, but not really ancestrally gifted, walking on that path. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
As
right.
a visionary and walking into that particular purpose and being received. You see what I'm saying? And in the visual world, they're like, oh man, I'm glad you finally got here. Like people, I love and got love and respect for them. We've done things for years. We go back 10, 12, 15 years. You see what I'm saying? They're like, yo, you over here? Oh, I got to come over here and see what's going on. Yo, this is nice.
Yeah.
Shit is nice over here. Yo, like, yo, what are you using? And blah, blah, blah. I'm looking. I'm like, they've been out here for years. You see what I'm saying? They've been on this other side.
Right, right.
So it's just exciting to be out, and in these defining moments, like, okay. And, I can hear my ancestors say, like, hey, boy, I told you, we got you. just keep on walking.
Right.
You understand? So,
Right.
That's a beautiful situation where it's symbiotic, meaning that these things sync up together in such an amazing fashion, and they work together harmoniously.
Divine timing, we could say. Divine timing.
Synchronicity.
Yeah. I can understand that. I can definitely dig that.
I got it from you.
Yeah, I'm on that journey as well, so I definitely can understand that and feel that. So, knowledge. Okay, we talked a lot about, your backstory, where you are, how you got to where you are today, things of that nature. For the listeners, can you describe? You kind of said a little bit about it, but can you describe your first interview or your first radio gig, and what was that like? Describe that moment for us.
It was pure hell. Okay? It was pure hell. It was definitely, what our church folks would say, a trial by fire.
Yeah.
It's a fortification process. It was Blog Talk. It was August 29th, 2015. It was like 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So,
wow, you know it.
West Coast. It was West Coast time. It was like West Coast time. So it was like 12 o'clock over here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I set everybody and their mama to call into the show.
Right.
So I called in every favor I could call from everybody. You understand it? And out of 20 people, it was like 10 people actually came through. You see what I'm saying? They actually came through and they were on. You see what I'm saying?
That's what's
and the first episode was What is Consciousness?
Okay.
And if you listen to that episode, I had divided it in 2 parts. The first half of the show, people could call in, they could promote themselves, they could promote their brand, promote their business, whatever the case may be. And this is what the goal of the show was. You could call in and promote yourself. This already took you out of the realm of the mind frame, like, we're calling in to hear the host, or we're calling in to hear the guest, because this is not how this community functions. You came to a lecture or you came to an event, but you were the prize, not the guest speaker or speakers, not the presenter, not the vendors, the audience, because without the audience, it meant nothing. You understand?
Right.
So you went into a space where ancestors were honored. That's one. Elders were beseeched for permission to speak. That was 2. And they were recognizing people in the audience. They were giving people in the audience an opportunity to come up and talk about what they did. If they had products, if they had services, whatever. If they taught martial arts, if they did hair, if they bootlegged some cable, whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying? So you know you're in a community. You know you did not have to go outside of your community for the things that you needed to sustain yourself. and to your family, and to the benefit, those families were able to take care of their families based on that support.
Right.
So now, once they started recording things and these things started to circulate around the globe, now those people were getting calls in business outside of their local parentis or their local community into the global community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't give any lectures. The only they did was say, yo, I do this. You understand what I'm saying? And from that, they were able to sustain themselves and their family outside of their local community. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was, the goal for that. So everybody, that was the mission for the show, to show this virtually. These things that I had learned over the years in the community coming up, put them into practice and implement them into the community. So that first episode was What is Consciousness? Because this is where everybody starts. Like, I'm just coming into consciousness, I'm brand new, and da-da-da-da-da.
Okay,
so
okay.
Here we have some functional definitions or some functional things to present options to the people. Because again, this is not a preachy type of situation. This is not thou shalt not. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is, just check this out and see what's going on. You see what I'm saying? And through that exposure process, you expose to something that resonates with you, and this is what you can do further research. So, I had some of the who's who that's in the conscious community, Red Pill, Black Dot, Sutek, it was a large list of people that came through that particular night. So with everybody else hearing it, they're like, oh man, this dude, this dude, like, damn, like, this dude with everybody calling in. You see what I'm saying? So everybody calling in, and people promoting themselves, and also people, calling in for the second portion, and they dealing with what is consciousness. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And most of all of this happened, like every technical difficulty in the world that you could think of was happening. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
the resilient nature of things not going according to proper order kicked in. So after that, I don't see how nobody could ever, do this radio stuff, whatever. It's not for me, I guess. You understand what I'm saying? And then I got that call.
Yeah.
Then I went back and listened to it, and I was like, these gaps. I'm like, I didn't even hear this because I wasn't on, and I was trying to get back on. Like, so I'm just looking, listening, and the conversation is flowing, segueing from person to person. Everybody's getting their say, so they're like, oh, this is ill. You understand?
Right. I know the vibe.
So, from that, inside it was hell. You see what I'm saying? Inside it was hell. Outside it was right.
Right.
So it's a situation that you have to love yourself to go through that kind of forge of fire and purification and refinement to come out right on the other side. You see what I'm saying? So that's really what that first one was. That was the first of many. You see what I'm saying? And then it continues to grow.
Wow, that's deep. But I can definitely dig it. Now, you wear a lot of hats, a lot of hats every day, interviewing various people for the majority of the day in various parts of the country, having to keep up with different time zones. Schedules, your own schedule. You have to eat in between and sleep, in which I don't even think you do. That's yet to be discovered. But I guess my question is something that, with listening to your story, that the listeners also want to know, especially when they go and do a little background check on you themselves and see how you produce different podcasts on a daily basis. How do you budget your time so that you make sure you get everything done that needs to get handled and still able to have a successful podcast on your station for that particular day?
You have to make it work. Like, I'm looking at my calendar. Like, I didn't have a calendar before, so that was a lesson learned to live on the calendar. So when I'm talking to somebody, they might hear a pause for a second.
Yeah.
I'm typing it in the calendar. I have to. You understand what I'm saying? Because when I sit back down to look at everything that's in front of me, I'm like, I have to create these episode descriptions, blah, 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 blah. I have to be able to look on the calendar and see it. It keeps me focused and organized. And when I'm out here, celebrate hunting, looking for some African people to celebrate, I have to be disciplined enough to look back on my calendar and say, oh, I have an interview at that time.
Right.
How does this time work? You see what I'm saying? So
right.
being as accommodating as possible to people's availability and scheduling, but not putting myself in a position where I'm double booked or I have to cheat someone out of this experience, because Do Not's radio is an experience. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As many people have seen. And then some stuff just falls out of the sky ancestrally. Like the Lord Jamal interview was supposed to be scheduled.
Right,
you understand?
Right.
Like
that was an awesome interview, by the way. Very awesome interview.
I waited 5 years for the interview. You understand what I'm saying? I waited 5 years.
It was worth the wait.
So, the opportunity presented itself, and I was going to schedule it for a couple of days later, and something was like, nah, get that shit right now.
Right
now.
Right.
So I was like, all right. You free at 9 o'clock? He's like, yeah. I was like, bet. Let's go. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was an awesome experience. I was able to check that out, and I know that you were very happy about being able to have that experience with him after waiting for 5 years. So I know with listening to your story firsthand now and knowing where you came from and getting to where you are now, that should be the ultimate reward, I would say, thus far in 2020 for you. Would you agree or no?
Well, 2020 is still going on, and there's a whole bunch of amazing things happening. So that is one of milestone.
Yeah.
In the midst of everything, like I love all of the guests that come on. Hopefully, we get a chance to have some time with you, and you could come on and share your story and your experiences. You see what I'm saying? With our listening audiences, and they can be familiar with you as well.
Definitely.
You doing your journey, and it works because we're in a networking type of space. You see what I'm saying? So like, okay, once people they come here and they have an experience, they told me, it was like, yo, sis is so on point, sis is so professional, sis is boom, 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 she flexible, like, so they were raving about you.
Thank you.
So this is an experience, like, this is really the bombshell. You understand? Like, 10, 11, like, this is really a bombshell. Like, really, this is a great place, for brothers and sisters who have real information. I have to stress that. Real information and something of worth and value to offer our people. This is a place to be.
Yeah,
this is a premier place to be. So,
thank you.
Definitely, I appreciate everything that you're doing and that you will do. You understand? Because you are destined for greatness. It's you and a couple other people that are out here that I have tremendous respect for, and the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've had an opportunity to have some other people that are on the same journey. Shateri Dotson out of Kosciuszko, Mississippi. I Am the Bag. That movement. I stand by her, and I wish her the best on her journey, because she's definitely on the right path. So yeah, that's one sister that I definitely hope reaches her ultimate goal.
Mississippi motivation.
I'm trying to have told you 662-601. Okay. And then that was another reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because some of the very reasons ultimately the same reason is that you started your journey with podcasting is the same reason that I started mine, and with the same mission in mind, wanting to help promote others, in addition to providing education and support to the community where it's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's free knowledge. And what other way to give you that knowledge than to be able to listen to it like you're listening to music, and it's accessible. So and then and you're empowering people. And I that's one of the reasons why I love your radio station, Do the Knowledge, is because it's very educational. And being that I'm on a spiritual journey, I have been able to meet a lot of people within my soul tribe. And some people, they're not woke to that quite yet. And once they get there, they'll understand what I'm saying when I say soul tribe. But once you do get to that point, I mean, it's a place where you definitely want to be, and you kind of see things start to manifest slowly but surely, because you start getting in tune with the right people that are on the same vibration as you are. So I definitely I'm very happy that we were able to connect and that you were able to be a part on this Entrepreneur Link Up series. So Knowledge, out of all the things that we've talked about tonight, you've shared tonight, what would be one of the most important things that you would that you would tell an individual that's on their path to starting their own business venture? Maybe it's not even a business venture. Maybe they're starting their own spiritual journey, or just reinventing themselves completely. What would be, I would say, two pieces of advice that you would give someone? Study long, study wrong.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
The sub in the sub part to trusting the process. Remember why you're here. Remember, like in the entrepreneurial world, nothing moves without the motivation to.
Right.
Your why, they say. What is your why? Because your why is going to drive you places that the normal you would never ever go. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So that early morning, that late night, that sacrifice of sleep, of rest, of refreshment, of comfort, all of those things are predicated in that why. You see what I'm saying? And trusting the process. You understand what I'm saying? Like trusting the process, submitting to the process, and allowing the process time to work without impeding the process with you having aspects or trying to say what you're in control of. You understand what I'm saying? Like these things will make the process harder than it has to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there are times where there's nothing in sight. There's a difference between vision and sight. Understand that the visionary has something that the one with sight does not. The visionary sees. The visionary begins with the end in mind and works their way backwards. And sets and applies benchmarks along the way to celebrate the small victories. You understand? Along the way, on the path to attaining the goal. You see what I'm saying? Like if you think of a farmer has to see a bountiful harvest with no crops in sight.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
There's no crops. The farmer has to walk through a barren field. It looks like a graveyard and envision a bountiful harvest. You see what I'm saying? So the farmer has to trust the process. The farmer has to communicate with the soil. You understand? The farmer has to break ground. The farmer has to plant seeds. The farmer has to welcome the weeds. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like these are all the things along the way and on the path to the bountiful harvest. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If this is your venture, you have to understand that the bruises, the scabs, the scars, the perceived adversity, the negativity, the lack of support, the lack of sleep, the lack of financial, immediate financial gratification, and things like that.
Yes, preach.
These are all things along the way.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like Carlos once said, with God, You understand? He's like, with God, he was like, you broke sometimes. She said you hurt sometimes, but with God, you understand what I'm saying? Like, understanding that process of Godding. That's the process on the way to Godding. If you're becoming a master of your craft, on whatever lane that is, that's a Godding process.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And trust those guiding principles along the way on your path and ascension into Godhood.
Wow.
So that's the first.
I think that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but that was definitely some deep information. That was good. That was deep. But I mean, go ahead, share.
The second thing is love your family.
Right.
You understand? Love your family. That's really like the first thing.
Right, family first.
That's really like the first thing, but trusting the process to help you love your family at the same time. You see what I'm saying? So you have to have that firm footing established in that way. So, love your family, love your elders, love your ancestors, love your children, your children's children, and those that are not yet in your material sight. You see what I'm saying? These are things that propel you and push you. You see what I'm saying? Be patient with your family. Be loving with your family. Be kind with your family. And repair those relationships within your family dynamic, in your bloodline. Promote healing, promote reconciliation. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Learn how to heal from past traumas. We're here with an assignment and a mission.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're here with an assignment and a mission. So, love your family and understand that mantra that the mission is more important than the moment. These are interwoven. You understand? The mission is more important than the moment. The moment might have you like, you know what? Forget it all. That's a moment. And that moment will pass if you remember the mission. You see what I'm saying? If you remember and refocus back on the mission, the mantra of 2020 is 2020 vision. You see that? 2020 vision. So equal vision forward and equal vision back, because we're an African people and we use these things kofa. So we return and get it. So we return to learn a lesson and a blessing from our past and what our ancestors left us, to be able to move forward in the best manner and with the clearest vision possible. The mission is more important than the moment. Your family might stress you out. They might be the first one talking this ish. They might be like, what you doing that for, and this and that, I ain't never gonna work, you ain't never gonna make no money like that, and blah, blah, blah. These are all voices that should push you and propel you and motivate you. You understand what I'm saying? Like you go to the gym and you got some heavy weight. First, you need a spot. You need a lift off. You need somebody to be right there to help you carry that weight. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But after a while, with that repetition, that space mastery, that discipline to the path and the goal, you lifting it. Yeah, you're not lifting it by yourself, but you're lifting it unified together. That rise, boom, back down, rise, boom. You understand what I'm saying? So it becomes lighter and you're able to handle more weight. You see what I'm saying? You reach a new max. So you reach a new benchmark in your life. So focusing and understanding, you trusting that process and that the mission is more important than your moment, and you loving your family. All in that same vein. Because this is what's going to push you forward. Because family is black people, is African people's religion. Family. You understand?
Right.
So that's the oldest religion in the universe. Family. The forces are connected. The forces have a relationship. They are a family. So the family business of God is to ensure that God exists and God continues to create, and God continues to create in the best manner. And we are of the divine family of God. So this is something to celebrate. This is something to elevate. This is something to propagate. This is something to nurture. This is something to cultivate. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so along with this process of guiding and ridding ourselves of these shackles and addictive type of qualities towards pain body trauma is something that we're moving forward with. And this is what the 2020 vision is all about. We need some visionaries with your 2020 vision. You understand?
Definitely. Wow.
Some people need corrective lenses. You know what I'm saying? Some people need corrective lenses, you see? So that 2020 vision might need to be corrected, right, with those lenses.
Wow. Well, Knowledge Born, you definitely dropped a lot of dropped knowledge on us tonight. It was very deep. It was very much appreciated. Man, I'm almost at a loss for words because it was so deep. But everything we said was very true and very valuable to anyone that's on this journey and on a path to better themselves on the spiritual side of it, or even on the business side of it. You definitely dropped a lot of knowledge, and I just wanted to thank you so much for deciding to come on tonight and be a part of my Girl Talk series, Entrepreneurs Link Up. And I hope that this information that you shared tonight will be very, very useful and valuable to some of the listeners in the audience. And I want to wish you the best on all your future endeavors. And in closing, I just wanted to be able to allow some time for you to be able to give the audience your contact info, just in case someone wants to check you out or even, request an interview to link up with you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm equally thankful for the time and you making space for me to appear on this illustrious platform, Bombshell 1111. You understand? This is definitely a bombshell.
You're welcome.
You see what I'm saying? So I can be reached easily via social media on Instagram at Knowledge Born Alive 357. Again, that's at Knowledge Born Alive 357 on Instagram. On Twitter. Is it Twitter or Twitter?
Twitter.
On Twitter. Yes, I'm on Twitter. At Knowledge Born 15 on Twitter. And social media, Knowledge Born Alive on Facebook. Do Knowledge Radio on Facebook. That's DOTHA. DOTHA. You get DOTHE. I don't know who you're going to find. That's not me. You might find somebody else. Do the Knowledge Radio. A is for African. You understand? I made a clear distinction that we're dealing with some African people. You see what I'm saying? Those other folks can have the E. So do the Knowledge Radio. And if you're looking to be a guest on the show, or you want to book me for any of my services, you can email me at doknowledgeradio@gmail.com. You can or leave a message on doknowledgeradio.com or dtgempoweryou.com, and you'll get the link to everything. You'll see all of the programs and the services that I offer and things like that. And we will see each other somewhere. If you walk in this path righteously, you love our people, I will find you, or you will find me, or we will find each other. You understand?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And with that being said, you guys, we're going to end this episode with another quote. Follow your intuition. It will always lead you to the right destination. And with that being said, thanks so much for joining in on another episode of Bombshell 1111 Girl Talk series. Peace, love, and light, you guys. Good night. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure you subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate, review, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some valuable information that can help you on your personal journey. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Bombshell 1111 or at Bombshell 1111 TV. You can also check out our mental health page, Your Health is Your Wealth, on Facebook, which is a page created to inform and support individuals with mental health and other health conditions. And with that being said, always remember, you guys, you are a bomb within your own shell. And until next time, peace, love, and light.